record a really quick podcast episode on the ceasefire being broken and a few ideas on how I want my episodes to move forward. I suppose this episode really is about what can I do now? And it's maybe a bit of a love letter to my fellow activists and supporters of Palestine, and it's to remind you of the beautiful concept or word, Arabic word of Sumud, which means steadfastness. Something that the Palestinians have shown in abundance, and something that I come back to, a word that I come back to remind me that it is not hopeless. We just have to stay steadfast in our beliefs, in our values, which is hard. It's really hard sometimes. But I think it's the least that we can do, right? And that's not to shame you for feeling hopeless. And it's certainly not to shame you for feeling full of rage, because I think we have a right to feel angry, and I don't necessarily think that anger is a negative emotion. In fact, I think it's just neutral, right? And that saying, if you're not angry, you're not paying attention, I think is right. But it's not sustainable. I think we have to do something with the anger. The energy has to go somewhere. Certainly for me, I have to use my anger to ignite a fire. And by fire, I mean action. And it might be really small. And I guess it's always going to be relatively small in comparison to the suffering of the people around the world. But the ripple effect of all of us using Sumud and anger to take action in our own sphere of influence is that we will make a change worldwide. We just will. It's impossible for it not to change. The person next to us, the person 7 people away. I'm not making a huge amount of sense, but I hope that today this rambly message of Sumud, of hope, of steadfastness, will land and help you to feel that all is not lost. It's not hopeless. So this was actually a bit of a test. It wasn't even supposed to be the full podcast, but I've just gone into it. What I want for the podcast, what she said going forward, it came to me in a meditation, because I meditate now, which is wild, but I have to say, painfully, it works and it is really helpful. Everything they say about meditation, first thing in the morning before you've paid any attention to your phone, is true. And believe me, that annoys me to no end. But anyway, was that what I want for the podcast is this concept. I would like to take a podcast that maybe a controversial podcast, maybe a podcast episode that I have found really interesting or inspiring, or has just stayed with me over the years, and find someone to listen to it with. And then we're going to have a chat about it. So it's like a book review, but a podcast review. And I need people to come forward and help me. There are a few people who I've already got in mind for certain podcast episodes, because I'm going to try and pick people based on things that make sense, right? But equally, if you or someone you know might be interested in chatting to me about a specific podcast, and they're open to listening with open ears and open hearts to a podcast episode that might annoy them, it might move them, maybe it's just one that's very funny, and they're happy to sit on an episode with me and chat about it and have opinions about it and be confident chatting about those opinions, then yeah, get in contact with me. You'll find all my details in the show notes, or you just look for Lucy Lucraft everywhere. I'm the only one on Instagram, I think. Right, okay, so this was just a 5-minute episode, and maybe I'll flesh it out. I'm not really sure yet, but that's what I want for What She Said going forward. So When I've got time to actually record some episodes, I will. But in the meantime, I'm probably just going to pop up ad hoc to chat about things. And I hope that's okay. Podcasting is a funny one because it feels like you're just speaking into the ether, which in a way I like. But if you want to get in touch with me, if you've heard the episode, then go to the show notes and just email me or slide into my DMs somewhere. Or what would be really helpful, obviously, is just to leave a 5-star rating and a review. You can do that on wherever you listen to your podcasts. Sometimes it feels a bit daunting because it's not actually super intuitive on quite a lot of the apps to be able to leave podcast reviews. And some apps, you literally can't leave a podcast review. But the reason why so many people ask you to do this is because it actually does make a difference. Podcasting as a form of content creation is relatively organic, although there is an algorithm. Like everything, it's algorithmic, and ratings really play into that algorithm. So the more reviews you have, the more likely you're going to be shown to other people. And wouldn't that be nice to have less Joe Rogans in the top 10s in the charts and more of people like me? Maybe that is not something that you want for yourself, but that is something that I want. So if you could play along with me, that would be amazing. All right, I'm going to end this podcast now. And I think I maybe even might throw it out there without really editing it and not think about it too much and just hope that it is helpful to somebody. All right, until next time, so long.